says live.
We're live. Hang on. Good morning and welcome to Who's the Bossk? It's a Star Wars podcast from laughingplace.com. My name is Mike Celestino. I am your host. I am the lead Southern California reporter and editorial director for Star Wars content at Laughing Place. This is episode number 198 of Who's the Bossk, and we will be discussing the latest and penultimate episode of Lucasfilm's live-action Disney Plus series, The Acolyte. And for that discussion, I have invited back on the show my friend and fellow Star Wars fan, Jordie Poblete. Jordie, this is the earliest I have ever recorded Who's the Bossk episode, but it's the only time our schedules lined up. Thank you for joining me at this early hour. How are you?
Absolutely, Mike. I'm well. I can't think of a morning where it can't be a better morning, actually, I should say, than talking with you and talking about Star Wars. Like, you're making it sound like it's a sad deal today, but no, this is.
No, it's not a sad deal. It's not a sad deal. I'm just grumpy in the morning. And I got to go to Knott's Berry Farm after this.
I have to go to Knott's Berry
It's
Farm.
not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a long day. What are you doing after this?
I'm going to same as you.
Going to Knott's?
No. Thematically, I'm going to have fun.
Okay.
Going to work.
All right. So what's been going on in your life? How are you? How are things at DisneyExaminer.com?
Everything is great and dandy. It's summertime here in Southern California, which is always a good thing, but we're going through a heat wave right now.
Yes.
So we're inside and we're complaining that weather isn't good.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like, and I saw you a couple weeks ago at the Chalk Walk event.
Yes.
Sponsored by Laughing Place, mind you. Yeah, I think we it's cool to catch up. It's cool to be in a rhythm again. After 3 or 4 years of kind of inconsistencies and in our, our fun industries that we get to
back
be a
into
part
the
of.
swing of things.
Yeah. So I'm just happy everything's not back to normal, but just the activity's back. We're so much to look forward to, right?
Oh my gosh, so much coming up.
What's coming up, Mike? D23, the D23
Comic-Con,
fan event.
All our favorite events out in the world, in San Diego, in Anaheim.
Fandom.
Let's say hi. We are recording this live on the Laughing Place YouTube channel. If you happen to be tuning in, please comment. Questions will be accepted and addressed, such as Patrick Radiker has tuned in for the first time. Hi, I finally made a live. Hello, Patrick. What is your avatar there? It looks like you're base jumping or something, climbing a rope.
Climbing a rope, Mike. Yeah, that's a sport. Rope climbing.
Rope climbing. Yeah. And then Ian Hamblin says, who cares? It's not real Star Wars. So, how do you define real Star Wars, Ian? I am curious. Jordie, a year ago or more.
Let's get into that.
You were kind enough to arrange a special call-in guest.
Oh, yes.
On Who's the Bossk. You yourself, I don't think appeared, but through you, I was able to chat with a very, very special guest. And I wonder if we could say hi to him again, just briefly.
Yeah. I think he's here with us. He's going to have to communicate through me, though.
Okay. Kind of like you're a medium.
Yeah, hold on real quick.
Okay.
Let me tune in here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Is this Pizza the Hut?
Werner Herzog, how are you?
Yes. Hi, hello. Is
Acclaimed
this Pizza the Hut?
filmmaker and actor Werner Herzog. No, no, it's not Pizza the Hut,
No. Oh,
Werner.
I've done it. I've done it again.
Yes, you're
I've
back on
called
Who's the
in.
Bossk.
Oh, it's you, Michael.
Yes.
It's
Thank you.
Michael.
How are you, sir, since the last time we talked?
Oh, it's been very fun to be able to come back on this podcast, even though I have really just wanted Pizza the Hut.
No, no pizza here. We're just talking about Star Wars, but you
Oh,
haven't been part of Star Wars since your character died in The Mandalorian.
no, but I told you I wanted to come back to finish the job.
Yeah. What does that entail, finishing the job,
Like I
your mind?
told you many eons ago, Michael. I cannot say what that job is because I signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Okay. I looked up your IMDb filmography, Werner, and I saw that you did have a movie
Oh,
come out a couple
the
years
th-
ago.
the theater
Theater
of
of Thought.
thought.
Yeah, what's that
Say it
about?
with me, the theater.
Theater of Thought.
No, you're saying it wrong, Michael.
Okay.
It's the theater of
Theater
thought.
of
Yes.
Thought. Do you know what that do you remember what that is about?
I do. I made the movie, Michael. I
And
think
where can people find this?
they can find it on the streaming networks like I believe it's Netflix.
Okay.
But it has to do with the examination of the complexity of the mind.
What about the mind of a chicken? Do you go into that?
No, but I hate chickens. I hate chickens so much. They're feeble creatures. When you look inside their brain, it is non-existent.
Well, it's good to know you still harbor resentment against both the
I hate
Mandalorian and
chickens.
chickens. But like I said, we gotta move along because we got both Jordie and I have stuff to do
Oh,
today.
okay. I'm
So
going to figure out the real number to Pizza the Hut.
yes, it's good to speak with you again, Werner. Take
Bye,
care. See you at
Michael.
Star Wars
Goodbye.
Celebration.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Whoa.
that
Whoa,
was
man.
crazy.
That was that's some midichlorian working right now. Wow.
Communing through the force.
Virgins. That was a virgins thing.
Patrick explains his avatar. He's doing a what is that word? Tyrolean
Tyrolean traverse.
traverse across Clear Creek outside Denver.
It sounds like balancing.
Oh.
Yeah, traverse. Oh, gosh. Okay,
I'm upside down, hanging, hence the angle. Okay.
Okay,
Wow, that's
well,
more active than I have
thanks.
ever been in my life. But
Yeah.
Jordie, let's do the 5 Star Wars questions. This is your third proper time really on the show, not
Okay.
counting Werner's last appearance.
No.
But you are up to the 5 Star Wars questions, level 3. You ready for this?
Ayo. I'm gonna attempt to be ready for this. Yes.
Okay.
Level 3 sounds hard, Michael.
I know they're getting hard. You got to really be a Star Wars fan to get this far. Number 1, what is your favorite Star Wars book or comic book and why?
Oh no. I think I only got into Star Wars books when, and I believe you were at this event, but right before the shutdown happened in COVID, like
Yeah.
Lucasfilm Books had
Right.
an event
For the High
and
Republic.
yeah, High Republic. And obviously it was one of those things where, you were writing about it, so you better kind of read up on
Right.
it. And so I dug into oh god, Light of the Jedi.
Yeah, but Charles Soule.
Yeah, who was at that event, and it was
Yeah.
great. He has a deep, I feel like, and I should mention to people, I read like 3/4 of it. I didn't get to the end.
Okay.
So, but in my conversations with him, I felt like it was such a, he has a high regard for what George made and the lore
yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
And, actually thinking about it now, a lot of what he wrote is now appeared into some of the Star Wars
Yeah,
live action stuff. So,
that's true.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he came up with that thing, the Barash Vow, which has been incorporated into the Acolyte.
right.
Um, yeah,
And I think Master and Dar. I'm just thinking about the cover of the book now, but it looks like Master and Dara.
no,
It's not Master and Dara, but
no.
looks like
Vernestra
Master.
Rowe
Yeah,
was created for the High Republic books, and she's the Green Lady.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Anyways,
good choice. Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. Definitely picked that up. Number 2, if you could own a life-size working replica of any Star Wars vehicle, what would you choose?
oh man,
Supposed to have these ready to go one after the other.
no, no. This is. You have thoughts and discussions. I'm gonna say. Oh, the Phantom Menace. The yellow. The yellow.
Pod Racer?
No.
The Naboo Starfighter.
Yeah, I want a Naboo Starfighter.
Okay.
That
The one
was
that
that was
Anakin
taken from
flies around
Mando.
in at the
Yeah,
end.
and Mando
Yeah,
like
okay.
found.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. And you would like soup it up and have it be like your little hot rod, right? Like
No, I'd
Mandalorian.
call I think I might call Elon Musk and have him turn it into an electric
Elon
vehicle.
Musk rather than Amy Sedaris, Pelimato.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Number
Fast, Mike,
3.
fast. Come on.
What is your favorite non-human sentient Star Wars alien species? I feel like you're going to struggle with this one. So not the little creatures that run around like the Womp Rats, but like a alien that you could have a conversation with, like the Mon
Oh.
Calamari or the
Oh. Yeah, no,
Rhodians,
no, no,
or
no, no.
yeah.
I got it. Here we go.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Neem Nub.
Yeah, he's a Celestin.
Yeah. I love Neem Nub. And then they
Okay.
killed him off.
He died in he died in The Last Jedi?
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no,
And
he
he
died
have
in wait, did he die in Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker. We don't
Okay.
remember that movie though.
No. Yeah.
He went. Imagine having a conversation with him. He'd just be like, blah, 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 and I'd be like, blah, 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 blah.
I find this culturally insensitive to the Celestin people.
No.
No. Okay. Number 4. What is your favorite piece of Star Wars music? And why?
Oh. You know, I've really. I mean, I have a lot. I think Ludwig Göransson has done
Yeah.
a tremendous job at trying to, not be John Williams. But I love the textures in a lot of the themes, and so I've really been jamming with the Ahsoka theme, that the end credit stuff. Or no, he didn't do that.
That was Kevin Kiner.
Kevin Kiner, but
Yeah.
similarly, with Kevin Kiner and the Ahsoka theme has a lot of like percussive instruments and stuff like that too. I love that blended in with melodic stuff. So that's been nice. Kevin and Ludwig have been doing really good.
Exactly. Yes, agreed. Everybody's doing a good job. Okay, this is a fun one. Number 5. If you could go back in time and be present for the filming of any live action Star Wars scene, which would you choose? Dead air.
The end of the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. When all the ships show up, Lando brings all the ships.
No,
Ray's fighting.
Ray buries all the lightsabers, and she goes, "Ray from where?"
Oh yeah, okay.
And
that
then
final scene on Tatooine.
That's right, and I'll show up and I'll do what I think I did in the theater, but I definitely did while I was in the theater, and other people did.
Okay.
They were like, "No, don't say it. No, no, no." And then she said Skywalker, and we're like, "Boo!"
So in this situation, you're kind of like Sam Beckett traveling, quantum leaping through time, and you can change things for the better.
I'm more of like a Doc
scenario.
Brown, Back to the Future with I was gonna say my Mandalorian, my DeLorean.
You're a man in a DeLorean.
My Mandalorian. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You're not the first person to make this connection.
Okay, great. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, I would definitely still then be at the end.
Okay.
yelling boo.
Boo to
Boo
Ray
earns.
Skywalker.
Boo earns.
Boo
If you remember
earns.
that reference from The Simpsons, boo earns.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Senora Spielbergo.
Ooh, yes.
I know all about it.
You
All right.
don't.
Let's get into some Star Wars headlines for this week. Just yesterday, we found out that Patton Oswalt, who you know as the voice of Remy from Ratatouille, he's
So
also a very what's close?
No, you're right. You're right. It
He's
sounds like you were
also
struggling there for a second.
I was waiting for you to jump in.
Oh, I'm kind here.
Okay, so Patton, he's a comedian, he's an actor, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He is going to be moderating the official Star Wars panel. It's called Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away at San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right.
There's where I struggled. 2024, which is coming up in just a couple weeks. And this panel is going to focus on the upcoming video game Star Wars Outlaws. And speaking of the High Republic, there's going to be a few authors from the High Republic on the panel talking about what's coming up in Phase 3. Jordie, are you going to San Diego Comic-Con this year?
I am going to San Diego Comic-Con.
I know. I
Michael.
keep stumbling over that word.
I will be. And I did know about this panel, and I am very excited about the Outlaws game. Open world,
Right.
reactionary things. I think that's great. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they'll share. And I'm more excited to see if whether or not they'll leave a promo code on the seats so we can try the game out.
Ooh, that would be nice. Save us
Yeah.
$70 or whatever
That's
they're
right.
charging these days. I already have
Yep.
it pre-ordered though.
Nice.
I lose my $5 at GameStop if I get it for free. But I guess
Stonks.
it works out in the end.
Stonks, Mike.
Yeah, stonks. Patrick has a question. If more Star Wars makes it so that the new Jedi are just called Skywalker or something,
Yeah.
something that earns the line in the movie, does that make it any better?
I'm gonna go with no. I think the ending, we all knew it was going to happen. I can't
Yeah.
believe I'm actually describing why I am saying boo. But I think I speak for everyone, Patrick, and say that I think in order for you to get to even landing that, I think the way to that narratively could have been done better. I'm not gonna go into that. I love narrative though, and so if you want to message me on X or whatever, I'm happy to have great discussions about how we could have made the end of Star Wars
talk
better.
to J.J. Abrams. Patrick also asks, he said he will be there in the panel, or he hopes to be there in the panel room.
Nice.
It will be his first SDCC. Hope to see you there, Patrick. Please say hi. I don't think we've met in person before, and if we have, I apologize if I forgot. But we'll see you there.
For you. Yeah.
Deadline has reported. Deadline is a industry paper, not a paper anymore. It's early. It's so early. It's
Deadline.
a trade
PHR
publication. Yeah. Yep. Entertainment News. They reported that screenwriter. Man, I'm sorry. Screenwriter Jonathan.
You want to clean your glasses, bro?
No, are my glasses dirty? Oh no, I see what you're saying, so I can read. From the Adam Project, his name is Jonathan Tropper. This is a screenwriter. He's going to be writing a new Star Wars film. This was announced, or at least leaked out through the trades, that Sean Levy. How do you pronounce that one? Levy?
No, Levy. Yep, Sean Levy.
Okay.
Yep.
You know him. He's directing Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yep.
He works with Ryan Reynolds a lot. He did Free Guy, I believe.
Free Guy's a great movie.
Theoretically, he will be making a new Star Wars movie, although this comes around every so often where we learn about a new Star Wars film in development and it doesn't happen. So we'll see if this happens. But if it does happen, are you excited for this one, Jordie?
Sean Levy's like Disney's new favorite producer, director person, So his films are really entertaining. I love Free Guy. He's done Stranger Things, a few directing a Stranger Things episode. So, go Sean.
And I feel like this Deadpool and Wolverine movie is going to be making some money at the box office.
Cinema isn't dead, friends.
Cinema lives. 3 new covers have been revealed for the Essential Legends collection from Penguin Random House. This is where they have been reprinting the old Star Wars novels from the expanded universe. And those titles coming out in November are Han Solo Adventures by Brian Daley, Solo Command, which is part 3 of the Wraith Squadron trilogy by Aaron Alston, and Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which is the adaptation of the video game written by Sean Williams, all coming out November 5th in the Essential Legends collection. You can pick those up wherever you get your Star Wars books. Comic books, I know you're not reading these, right, Jordie? No, but this week we had 2 Star Wars comics come out. One was, speaking of adaptations, the first issue of Star Wars Ahsoka, issue number 1, adapting the live-action Disney Plus series of the same name. And then Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Phase 3, number 7. Enjoyed both of these. I wrote up reviews on laughingplace.com that you can go and read. Let's talk about toys. The HasLab Cantina crowdfunding campaign has come to an end. It was successful, but they didn't reach the final tier of the unlocks. You know, they have those like stretch goal tiers, and the final one they didn't get to. It was Arlael Shoes, who's one of the Wolfman characters in the background of the Cantina. Have you seen this toy?
No. Is someone trying to raise money to make this toy?
Yes, HasLab is a subdivision of Hasbro.
Okay.
And it's kind of the crowdfunding
for toys
campaign. Exactly. So they'd make these big play sets, and this one's going to be the Cantina from the original Star Wars film. They will have it on display, they said, at San Diego Comic-Con. So we'll get to see that in the Hasbro booth. I backed it at the last minute on the last day. So I will be getting this when it gets sent out. I'm sad that they didn't get to include all of those stretch goal bonus action figures,
like for characters.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm
still
seeing it now on Google. It looks fun.
Yep. It does look fun, very cool. And it comes with, for the first time ever, this will be included, the Tonica sisters, who are other background characters that have never been made as Star Wars action figures before. And people are very excited about that. Speaking
Is
of
George gonna get one of these?
I don't think George cares anymore, but we'll see. Maybe they'll send him one. Hot Toys have revealed that they are making new deluxe action figures. These cost like $250. So these are really deluxe. They're 1/6 scale, big action figures of ARC Trooper 5s and ARC Trooper Echo from Star Wars The Clone Wars. These are super detailed, super high-end collectibles. You can find those at sideshowcollectibles.com and order those if you like to add those to your collection. They're expensive.
Keep sending them to George.
Really nice.
Send them all to George.
And then back around to San Diego Comic-Con. See, I got it out that time.
There we go.
Exclusives coming from Roosevelt.
Is that how you say it?
Yes, believe it or not. I thought it was Results. When they first started putting stuff out, but it is Roosevelt's.
Okay.
And they have some Star Wars exclusive shirts, button-down shirts coming to San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, Mike, I know you're gonna buy them.
So I usually do buy these shirts. I love their shirts, but this time they're almost all in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Not my favorite. Not my favorite Star Wars movie. There's a Jar Jar shirt. There's a one that has the poster art, I think, on it, and a couple others.
I see it on the laughingplace.com website.
Yeah, that's where you find out about all this stuff.
Wow.
So I probably will skip these and save some money.
You
but
should not.
I shouldn't. Should I get the Jar Jar one?
You should either get the Jar Jar to the Rescue shirt,
Patrick's getting them.
or definitely the movie poster.
Patrick wants Thursday, he means probably.
The Tuesday and Saturday shirts.
No, there's no Tuesday. He means
Thursday and Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of Star Wars headlines for this week. Let's get into our main topic, which is the Acolyte Episode 7.
The Power of Two!
Choice. So before we talk about this week's episode, let me ask Jordie, what were your expectations going into The Acolyte as a series? And what did you think of the first 6 episodes, not including this one?
Well, let me tell you, Michael,
Please do.
that well, we got to go to the fan event
Yes.
premiere, whatever, for the show a couple weeks back, and
I think they call
we
them a
got to see
launch event for the
launch
Disney
event.
Plus
That's
shows,
a
yeah.
sod ayaz, my friend. That's
Okay.
Disney's chief brand officer wanting to, as in his words, would eventize everything.
Okay.
Um, but the um, yeah, we saw 2 episodes, and I liked it. You know, going into them, I definitely am not a Star Wars purist or whatever. You know, people who definitely feel like there's a rhyme and rhythm to the galaxy. I actually like it when um, storytellers take liberties with their storytelling.
Sure.
Um,
Me too.
I think obviously that comes with a whole bunch of caveats where if it's going to be different, you know, like just to give you guys context in my head, I love Rogue One. That is like I think a nice blending of war movie mixed in with Star Wars, you know, lore and you know the universe in itself, but it felt like a war movie, you know, like a
Right.
uh, something that you would get from the Spielbergs or what have you. Um,
Saving Private Ryan,
Saving
something like
Private
that.
Ryan
Yeah.
kind of deal, you know, and so yeah, I think going into this, I definitely felt that, you know, with the 2 episodes that we saw at the fan launch event. And then as things progressed, yeah, you know, it was more of like a lean in, you know, for the next few episodes, right? Like it became, I think, murder mystery to a
Yeah.
degree, but it really wasn't a mystery, and then the mystery was kind of solved midway, but
Right.
we really didn't know who the murderer in Manny Jacinto's character was or still is. And then you get witches now with things, and so uh but yeah, you landed on episode 7, and I have thoughts.
Oh, good. We're gonna get into those thoughts for
Yes.
sure. This episode was called Choice. It's the second of the 2 so far. I mean, I don't think the finale is gonna be a flashback episode, but there were 2 flashbacks to 16 years before the main events of the series. This episode was directed by Kogonada,
Yes.
who is a Korean director, I believe. He
Mhm.
directed a movie called Columbus, which I have not seen. Are you familiar with this movie?
No, but he did a movie called After Yang,
Okay.
and it was great.
Oh,
It
good.
made it to Cannes. Everybody kind of enjoyed it. But yeah,
So
he has a
yeah,
particular way of his filmmaking for sure.
yeah, and definitely a striking visual style. This was written by Charmaine de Great from House of the Dragon. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Jen Richards from something called Her Story, and Jasmine Flournoy, who does not have any writing credits before The Acolyte, but she was a writer's assistant on some of these other Star Wars Disney Plus series. So she's graduated to becoming a writer. The director of photography was James Friend again from All Quiet on the Western Front, the remake. And editor was Cheryl Potter from Solo, a Star Wars Story. What did you think of Choice, Jordie?
Yeah, well, I really felt like the narrative mechanism for it was really cool of being able to look at things from
Hmm.
different perspectives. I know that's not what a lot of people online have been saying, but
Okay.
I definitely feel like that has been used before, and I'm trying to remember what movie it was. Dennis Quaid was in. I think, oh, The Vantage Point, if you remember
Okay.
that movie from
Yeah.
years ago.
Right.
It he was a Secret Service agent, and it told the story of this um, uh, plot of you know, assassinating the U.S. president, and it was literally repeated. The narrative
Hmm.
from uh, like on-site Secret Service agents to the assassination
Right.
thing, and then at the very end, you got to see his perspective from it, and it extended into being able to tie up all the loose ends
Okay.
with things. And
I
so,
don't I don't know if I saw that.
yeah, Vantage
Uh,
Point, look it up.
but
Um,
this all goes back to Kurosawa, to Rashomon. I don't know if you've
right.
seen that.
No, I have
This is
not.
a film school movie. If you go to film school, it's one of the first ones they show you.
Is that it?
It's same idea. There's a murder mystery in Rashomon, and you see it play out from different perspectives, and you get the truth by the
By the end
end.
of
But
it,
yeah, everybody's drawing from this movie, Rashomon, very very famous samurai era feudal Japan based
yeah.
movie from
What do you think
Akira
of that
Kurosawa.
format though? Because I think
It's interesting,
it
yeah.
did some good things. I think insofar as being able to realize some of the choices that Soul had made and why he
Right.
felt so conflicted.
Well, I thought
Um,
it really worked for like the first 2/3 of this episode, and then it
yeah,
got to near the end,
right,
and we saw scenes that Soul and the other Jedi were not present for.
right,
That started to
right,
bother
right,
me. I
right.
was like, well, if this is the Jedi perspective episode, why are we seeing more scenes with Osha and May and Mother Anasea and Mother Coral
I,
expanding upon what we saw in the previous flashback
right.
episode? But these are scenes that the Jedi were not present for. I didn't
Yeah.
understand that. I don't know.
Well, it's
What did you think?
interesting that you said that it's coming from the Jedi's perspective. I didn't definitely at the top think about that
Okay.
entirely. Like, I just went with it. And I think this has been a thematic with all the entire all the episodes so far. Um, has a whole bunch of A stories, B stories, and C stories that they weave through everything. And maybe it's because I have been watching a lot of Aaron Sorkin stuff
Okay.
lately. I've been watching like West Wing and whatever. But those episodes are written so well that you can kind of track with everything. But I definitely didn't feel like everything had to be Jedi explanatory kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, I do want to talk about, like, I thought there was one really awesome part in this episode to me. What do you think that was?
When Torben blocked the lightsaber blow from Kalnaka.
Yeah, the larger fight,
Yeah, the fight.
that whole fight scene between the witch possessed Kelnaka
That's
and
right.
the other couple
And then
Jedi
they
who
were
are
doing
fighting there.
this.
Yes.
It was like a
I thought that
kumbaya.
the fight was really well staged and choreographed
Yes.
and exciting.
Yes.
And it's just so cool to see a Wookiee Jedi in action, even though he was corrupted at that moment.
Yeah.
But
Had
yeah,
we ever seen it in Star Wars anything? Had we ever seen a Jedi, or excuse me, a Wookiee fight with a lightsaber before?
only in the novels and comics, really.
Okay.
Well, there is a Wookiee Jedi in the animation also named Gungi,
Okay.
who is a youngling though, so not really graduated
Not
into a
mature.
full blown Jedi Knight yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that fight was awesome. I had problems with some of the rest of the episode. I think it was a little clunky, a little the structure bothered me a little bit. I just felt like because we were kind of filling in the gaps of what we
Mhm.
had seen
Mm.
in the previous episodes, some of it felt a little clumsy to me, but overall I thought it was fine. Um, let's talk about the idea of a vergence in the force. Did you understand what they were talking
Yes.
about when this came up?
Yeah. I know it's been described in other places before,
Yeah,
other shows, but I think this has been given, they gave the most amount of detail of what that actually does and the
right,
effects of it. Like you can restore a whole planet, you
right.
know,
Yeah.
or have, similar Anakin uh esque non don't know who or how this child was born.
Yes.
The Immaculate Conception for your Roman Catholic viewers today.
So the last time we heard about a vergence in the force in live action was basically Qui-Gon Jinn talking about how Anakin
Yes.
was a vergence, and Mace Windu says, "Oh, around a person," because ordinarily a vergence in the Force would be focused around a location. Like
Right.
another great example is the Dark Side Cave on Dagobah, where Luke enters and he fights the vision of Darth Vader.
Yes.
That's a vergence in the Force. And then I know the Jedi Temple on Coruscant was built around a vergence in the Force on that planet. So
How about
it's
Ahsoka and her connection to Anakin in her show?
I don't know if that has anything to do with the other than Anakin being a vergence
Okay.
himself. But
Yeah.
yeah, this time they're theorizing because there's this thing called the Great Hyperspace Disaster. Now you read that book, Light of the Jedi, or you read
That's right.
three quarters of it. That's all about the Great Hyperspace Disaster.
The
So
GHD.
yep, that's what we call it. That's what the kids are calling it these days on the TikTok. TikTok is
Mm-hmm.
probably not cool anymore. What have they moved on to? There's probably
No,
something
we're
new that
back
I
to
don't.
Vine, Mike. We're
Vine
back
is
to
back.
that's right.
So the Great Hyperspace Disaster. The implication in this episode is that disaster caused this planet to become lifeless, and then it was able to regrow its life, its flora and fauna in under a century from that point. And the Jedi were impressed by that ability and thought, let's investigate what's going on there. Maybe there's a vergence in the Force on this
Yes.
planet that is helping it regrow. And in the course of that investigation, they stumble upon this coven of witches. And this is where the episode starts to overlap with what we saw in the other flashback
That's
episode.
right.
But Master Soul talks about how
Soul.
when he first encounters the twins of May and Osha, he starts to feel a connection to Osha and feel that he might be destined to take her under his wing as his Padawan.
That's right.
What did you think of it? I feel like the reaction has been online that is a little creepy, that he felt this connection like right away and felt like he had to intervene in Osha's life. Why do you think
Oh
that
no.
played out though? I don't know. I don't think I mean, I just think like, well, why are you so fixated on this one twin out of the
Yeah.
two twins that were there? Like what do you think it was from what he saw? Because we see Soul like climb the outer wall
Right.
of the witch's fortress, and he's like
Yes.
watching down on the training part, and then they're
You're
preparing.
teeing me up for a
Sorry, go
response that
ahead.
I don't think I can give.
Okay. Well, what do you I just want to know, like,
And
what
you
do you
got to
think is
say virgins, not
Virgence?
virgin,
Right.
virgins.
Virgence,
There we go.
EMEE.
That's
And
right.
what do you think is going on in Soul's mind as he's watching these twins interact with their uh the witches that are up, bringing them up, raising them? Sorry, it's still
I'm
early.
I'm gonna say that there's something stewing in his soul.
Yes.
Get it?
SOL.
Do you get it?
I do get it.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. I feel like if they explain it more, because right now at the end of the episode for the choice, it basically lands where it's like he feels guilty now. Right? He's trying to redeem a choice that he had made.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, from that point on, 16 years later, right, it became, hey, I'll take care of her because I chose something. And then also stupid Torben,
Right.
like, he basically was the catalyst for Soul having to fix all this too. So yeah, I think right now he's facing a lot of guilt. I don't know why, if there was any fascination at the top. I think some people have read into it and have just taken it from the surface and said, "Oh, witches are bad for
Yeah.
the Jedi." But then you get into the end of that episode, and um, Andara is just like, the council says, "Leave him alone." I think, right?
Yes.
Like, don't
Yes.
interfere with the witches anymore. So I really don't know what's going on in his mind, but I definitely feel like if it can land the plane on something like that at the end, to next week's finale, I think that would be good.
You mentioned Torben. He's like the Padawan that they've brought along with them to this planet Brendok,
Mhm.
and he seems fixated on this idea of returning
Home.
to Coruscant.
Yeah.
Like he does not want to be there. He doesn't not like this mission. He doesn't
Yeah.
think it's important.
Yeah.
And it's kind of through him that the Jedi have to explain in very expository dialogue why they're there.
Yeah.
And he's the one, like you said, when he finds out, so they do blood tests on
Yep.
both these twins,
Yep.
and they find out that basically not only are they twins, but they have the same symbionts, which basically means they're essentially the same
The same.
person
Yeah.
or the same consciousness.
Yep.
And he thinks this is his ticket home. Torben
Yeah.
does. And he races off on his little speeder bike down to the fortress. And this is what sets off that whole sequence of events leading to that climactic fight. But I don't know, my wife kept asking me as we were watching the episode, why does Torben want to go home to Coruscant
bad.
so badly? And I just thought, I mean, my interpretation was that he was just new and fresh and scared
Yeah.
of being out there in the wilderness.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know. Did you have a different interpretation, or was that your
Um,
thought as well? Or does
uh,
he have something else going on back on Coruscant that he wants to get back to?
that I think for sure, but I definitely more take the human perspective that you did, where it's like, here's
Yeah.
this. I mean, I was thinking about Phantom Menace, your most favorite not Star Wars film, Mike, and
Uh-huh.
like he probably became a Padawan when he was younger, like Anakin. And
Yeah.
can you imagine, yeah, a youngling or a person like that, anybody just saying, "Hey, you're never gonna see your mom again," or
Right.
you're gonna be leaving for years, and you don't know when you're gonna get back. You're gonna resolve yourself of love, family, and connection to pursue this higher thing, and you
Yeah.
get to make that decision when you're that young. I mean, I resonate with that, not to say that I've done that personally, but I definitely have
Right.
empathy
Yes.
for a character who just says like, "Hey, I don't know what we're doing, what my purpose is, and I'm young, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, I kind of want to just go home."
The thing I walked away from this particular episode with was the idea that all four of these specific Jedi had some kind of weakness that kind of it added together. Their combined flaws added
Hmm.
together to create the situation that escalated and ended up with, basically this mass murder of these witches. Unfortunately, is in self-defense or whatever, but it's a bad situation. And when I saw that previous flashback episode, my thought was, oh, this series, The Acolyte, is going to be about the flaws of the Jedi Order in general and their
Mm,
tenets. And
mm,
to me, this episode was more, what what are the flaws of these specific Jedi, and what are they bringing into this situation that caused it to go kind of haywire? And I think the strongest of the four that are there is Master Indara, and she's
hmm
kind of the voice of reason through this whole thing. But she's still, even though she's kind of in charge, she still kind of lets it get out of control. And then she's the one who shows up at the end and awakens Kelnaka out of his trance, and
yeah.
through that, basically all
All
the
the witches
witches
die. Yeah.
die in the end. So
Not
she
even the fire kills them. It's this.
right, right. So she has a hand in the tragedy as well. And then there's the question of Mother Coral, who we don't see die. She just turns into that mist, that kind of
Right.
black mist. Do you
Right.
think we're going to see her again, or you think? I don't know. Does she still have a role to play in all of this? To put it in Gandalf terms.
Well, I think at the end, you're right. They're all having to deal with consequence now,
Yeah,
right? And I think that is fodder for narrative to really kind of resolve itself in its own way. And so I think they're teeing up for sure the finale, the
yeah.
season. And we won't get any maybe straight answer, but if we can find any resolution point, it's going to definitely come from every one of the characters that are still alive,
Right, which is
uh,
not many.
which is not many, but they're going to have to come to terms with some of this stuff.
Agreed. Let's say hi to Bloom in the comments here.
Hello, Bloom.
Hi, who's the boss? I'm just tuning in after watching Descendants 4, The Rise of Red, and I'm here to pop in.
That's right, Mike.
Yeah.
The Descendants 4.
My only exposure to the Descendants was I had to go cover.
I had to go cover the premiere.
Yes, not the premiere. At
The launch
Disneyland
of-
Resort, they had the cast of the Descendants come out at Downtown Disney on the old stage there. I think this was at the previous website I worked for, which you know about. And they, it was a big deal. This is before I think they were super, super famous. And everybody was standing there and watching all the Descendants cast come out and sing the songs. And I had to stand there and crane my arms over
as you were
people's heads.
surrounded by children.
Yeah, and children up on parents' shoulders. So you're really like, oh, it's tough. My job can be tough sometimes. Though.
That's right.
What do you know about the Descendants?
What do I know about the Descendants?
They're the children of the villains, the Disney villains.
I was actually at a convention called VidCon here in Anaheim, and they had a whole activation. They had a booth. This new Descendants movie is basically tracing the narrative of Alice in Wonderland. So a lot of that booth and the characters and what have you are taken from, or characters' choices and what have you are taken from that. So cool. Yeah, that's that. I spoke to a publicist from Disney.
Yeah.
While I was there too, and she basically said, "Yeah, this is the new like High School Musical."
Great.
You know, like music, Disney fable and fairy tale, and tweens and teens.
Okay. Well, Bloom thought it was good.
Yeah, I think we should watch it together, Mike.
I have not seen any of this.
Werner Herzog.
Okay.
You
could record an audio commentary by Werner Herzog for Descendants 4.
As long as they don't have chickens, I will love it.
Sorry, let's get back to Star Wars here. Okay. Let's see. Other unanswered questions. Why I already talked about that.
No. I was gonna say, going back to the fight. Let's talk about the fight.
The fight, yes.
Yeah, that was great.
I
like the whole like Wookiee jumping up high.
Oh, that scene was in one of the trailers. Everybody was waiting for it. That shot.
And then the whole one-handed thing.
Yeah. You got to have some good upper arm strength or lower arm strength.
Yeah,
wrist strength.
There's one thing that Torben had that was cool was that move.
Wrist strength. I want to ask you a question, actually. As a more casual Star Wars fan, I want to ask you if you understood.
A more casual Star Wars fan.
That's what you said at the beginning.
I am not like, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not a conservative or a liberal Star Wars fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. Come on, Mike.
I just want to know, because I struggled with understanding one moment in this episode. I had to watch it multiple times to figure out what was going on. And that's the moment basically where everything went chaotic, when everything went haywire.
Oh yeah.
When May rushed in and was like, help me.
Yeah.
And then Torben turned on his lightsaber, and Mother Coral brought out her big staff, and Mother Anastasia started turning into the black smoke, and that made May start turning in the black smoke, and Soul thought that May was Osha, and then everybody started fighting.
Yep.
What do you think was happening there? Why did May start turning into the smoke? It kind of took me a few views to really understand each moment in that scene, but why do you think it ended? Like, what was the sequence of events that led to Soul stabbing Mother Anastasia with his lightsaber?
I think you just answered your own question. I think it was pure chaos.
Just chaos. Yeah.
I think that was chaos. And then that makes sense, because then he felt guilty, right? Even more so. His guilt just compounded after that. Because, when she lay dying in his arms, she was like, I was going to let Osha go. Right. Because that's what she wanted. And, I think there's a better way to doing that, and having, it's very poetic to be able to say, I was going to do what you did.
Right.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
But
That's what
yeah,
I meant by clunky earlier. That
yeah.
kind of
It's a
fell
lot of
flat.
I mean, maybe it was meant to be confusion. Again, I can't speculate into that, but I definitely feel
Yeah,
like it is one of those things where very human moment, right? You have choices to make, and
yeah,
there's moments of urgency, and who has not been again in a situation like that where you've made the wrong decision and now
right.
you have to suffer the consequences of that. So I
And I think we can kind of definitively say that Soul believed he was acting in the best interest of
interest, yes,
the girl, the twins, and was doing so, was lashing out with his lightsaber in defense of who he thought was Osha, but it was actually May. But either way, he was trying to help, and in
right.
doing so, he accidentally set off this
Chain of
battle.
events. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. I guess what else can we talk about? There is the song. So this is the other thing that people are upset about. There's a song that plays over the end credits in this episode called Power of Two by Victoria Monet. Have you heard of Victoria Monet
No,
before?
I've heard of Janelle Monet. Are they related?
Oh, no, I don't. I have no idea.
Okay.
But it's more of a contemporary pop song, more of a contemporary pop song than we've really ever heard before in
Yes.
Star Wars. So
Yes.
to me, it didn't bother me because it's over the end credits, which is like at that point you're out of the universe. It's not like the characters are listening to this and dancing in the show. That would have been worse to
Like the
me.
Descendants.
Yeah. I don't know. Did were you taken aback by this song? Did you find it jarring? Did it bother you at all, or are you into it? Are you going to go stream it on Spotify?
No. Uh, but I feel and agree with most of the other fans and yourself that it's just different, you know?
It's different. Yeah.
Um, I'm sure when Leslie Headland, showrunner
Yes.
person, and Kogonada were having conversations about it, it was like, we're ending the end of the series and, we want to make a comment on the music, or maybe tease what's to come, like the
Mm,
meanings behind the whole show.
right.
There's that. But I definitely, because we're, again, pre-programmed to think that the end credits should have the star
Right.
background, blue font, and
Orchestral.
orchestral
Yeah, exactly.
overtones, and again, like it's okay, I mean, I don't think it needs to be a thing, I don't know. I guess the power of two is Ocean May.
Right. Well, that's
um
what in the previous episode, Manny Jacinto's character, who we don't know his real name yet. He went by
right.
Chimere, but he said he wanted the power of two. That's why he is
Oh,
trying to
yeah,
get
that's right.
Osha and or May to be his
Acolyte,
acolyte.
that's right.
Bloom liked the song. They were dancing during the
Bloom
end
was
credits.
also dancing, yes.
Bloom also says, "I am a real Jedi myself." When I was
Wow.
describing the fight and fighting style, mine is Form 7 Jark High. Wow, that's really a deep cut.
Mike, do
Uh,
you understand?
no, I don't know the Jedi lightsaber forms, the fighting
Oh,
forms. Patrick
well,
says, yeah.
maybe Descendants can then remake some Star Wars.
I think it has to do with ascension, says Patrick. May got the
Ah,
tattoo and is linked to
Panacea.
Anastasia. Hmm.
Yeah,
And then
great.
Kiki and Luca, a new commenter,
What's
they
Mike?
they think that Soul's attachment to a little girl was weird, which I said earlier. That I've been seeing that comment pop up a lot on social media.
I'm
That
just struck by Kiki and Luca's avatar.
I didn't even notice. Uh, okay, I don't know anything else.
Crossover.
Was there anything else that you thought stood out to you about this episode that you want to talk about before we move on here, Jordie?
Um, production value, I think, was always interesting with
Yes.
this one. Like, I don't know if they used the volume.
I think for some scenes they are using the volume, but a lot of it was shot on location and
Right, it really
soundstage,
looks
I think.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars has always been about practical.
Right.
and all that. So to be on location with sets and props that are manufactured, I think it adds to the storytelling. I think it adds to the believability,
Yeah.
and not to say that Mandalorian and everything else that was shot on the volume. And for those who don't know the volume, Mike, it's
Yeah.
a
It's a
LED wall
exactly
screen
a
that
big
basically mimics
360
environments. Yeah.
LED wall. Yeah. And it
Uh,
uses video game technology to project in real time, project the backgrounds
that's
behind,
right.
not even project. I think it's just coming out of the LED screen, as you know.
That's right. And then it's just it's all lit. Those subjects can be lit. Like if you put a
Yes.
sun in the LED wall, it's going to
Right.
reflect in camera what that would
Exactly.
look like. I've been to the volume myself,
I'm very
and
jealous.
it's very cool. But again, I think there's something to be said to have on location
Yeah.
shots. And I'm
But I
glad they
think,
did it for that.
the current era of Star Wars has become really good at mixing all the different techniques to get the production value that you talked about
That's
from the finished
correct.
product. Bloom says you have to be very committed to know all the forms, lightsaber forms, which I'm not committed enough, I guess, to know that. The Disney Plus documentary that showed it is really cool.
Oh, the
Patrick
volume.
talking
Yeah.
about the volume
Yes,
there.
Patrick.
Go watch. It's called Disney Plus. No, it's called the Disney Gallery. Disney
It's
Gallery.
called Disney Plus.
It's on
It is
Disney Plus.
called Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus. It's called the Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, behind the scenes.
Yes.
Go check that out. Really, really informative,
That's right.
fascinating about the next revolution in filmmaking. Jordie, next week is the finale. We don't know if it's the season finale. We don't know if it's the series finale.
Yep.
But it's the finale of this batch of episodes of The Acolyte. What are you hoping for? What are you expecting from the final episode?
That's a great question. I hope they tie up the loose ends.
Yeah.
I hope we get some resolution with Soul. I feel like he's kind of come out to be like main person, main
Right. I
protagonist
think
in
he's
it.
the
So
only actor who's been in every episode.
that's right.
Osha and the characters have been, but in the flashbacks, obviously they're played by different actresses.
Right. I really want to see what happens to him. I want to see what happens to Kamir. And then obviously Osha. Like, yeah, I think it should set it up. And if they connect it to the larger Star Wars lore,
Right.
like, I mean, obviously this is hundreds of years, thousands of years before.
It's exactly 100 years before
100 years.
the
That's
fall
right.
of the Republic.
That's
So,
right. So maybe it can't, but
no, it can. It can.
Yeah.
I think it can connect, and I'm gonna put money on the fact that it might, because we've already seen Ki-Adi-Mundi. He's one of the Jedi who's on the council in the Phantom Menace. He popped up in the Acolyte. And I feel like I don't know. If I had to predict, I have not seen the finale, but I think we might see the other members of the council. That would be a guess. That would be a prediction of mine. You might see Master Yoda pop up. Who knows?
Yeah, that's
That would be
right.
fun.
So how about you? What are you wanting?
I really want, like you said, resolutions to the mysteries. I want to know more about, I want a definitive answer as to how May and Osha were created, because they're kind of dancing around that still.
Yep.
In this episode, and I want them to finally tell us what the deal was with that. And I want to know what Chimere's deal is also. Like, was he really a Sith? Is he still a Sith? Does he still consider himself a Sith? Is he in the line of succession of Sith that lead to Darth Sidious and Darth Plagueis?
That would be so wild, and I'd be
Yeah.
so proud, because he's played by Manny Jacinto, and I'm Filipino and he's Filipino.
Nice.
And it would be so cool
That would be
to know
cool
that Filipinos started the Sith.
Patrick says, I really hope that it's a season finale, parentheses, power of 2. Give me a second season. I see. So 2 seasons, power of 2. I hope that this season is about whoever it is that becomes the Acolyte, and season 2 is the resolution. Okay. And then Bloom reiterates that they are a self-taught Jedi, learned everything from a YouTuber called Mike Skywalker. Okay.
Wow.
All the Jedi lightsaber forms can be learned from Mike Skywalker
Black
on
belt.
YouTube. That's it for our discussion of the Acolyte for this week. Looking forward to the finale coming up in just less than a week from now.
Less than a week.
So we'll check that out. Jordie, there's one last segment here on Who's the Bossk. It's called First Steps into a Larger World. This is where we talk about the media that we've been consuming and or enjoying outside of Star Wars. My example this week, I finally finished a video game called Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which came out over a year ago, and I have been gradually working my way through this game. I like to get 100% on these games, but I couldn't even do that in Zelda. I got pretty close to 100%, but there's all these little creatures called the Koroks that you got to find, and I kind of gave up on that. I did finish pretty much everything else, and I was very proud to be done because I wanted to finish this game before Star Wars Outlaws comes out next month. Because that's another open world game, and it's going to take up a lot of my time. What about you, Jordie? Anything that you've been reading or watching or playing, enjoying lately?
Definitely. Well, I told everybody on the episode earlier that I've been watching a lot of Aaron Sorkin stuff lately. And you guys want to talk about a guy who really knows his narrative, and I think would be a great person to write Star Wars. I think he would be Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
So West Wing stuff, if you guys do that, the great TV and maybe civics lesson.
What was his like Saturday Night Live type show?
Studio 660 on the Sunset Strip. That didn't last as long as
Matthew Perry
everybody thought it would be. And the other thing that I've been watching, or rewatching rather, is the Hulu FX series The Bear.
Right.
If you heard about The Bear, I fell in love with it when the first season came out during COVID, basically, and kind of came out of nowhere. Tells a story of this guy who takes over his brother's restaurant after he committed suicide and has to deal with the dynamics of being a fine dining chef and now having to work at a hot beef, Chicago beef place in Chicago. And if that sounds fun already, then I think definitely you'll love the series. But again, masterful writing in that as well. A lot of deep love for characters and development. And if you love food, you'll love that too. Not just hot Chicago beef, but, like fine dining and cuisine. It's kind of a mix of like Chef's Table mixed in with a fictional series,
Okay.
So it's great.
I definitely
and
know.
I have the shirt.
Oh, you got
the original beef of Chicagoland.
Oh God, have you been there to the restaurant? I heard people.
No, I have not. I do have to go back. But if you're in the Los Angeles area this weekend, funny enough, there will be a pop-up of the Mr. Beef of Chicagoland restaurant in Mid Wilshire. So look that up if you're interested. Cool. I definitely will be there.
I know of the Bear. I have watched part of the first episode and I fell asleep, but that was no fault of the series because we watched it while we were on vacation in London and we were so exhausted and I just kind of dozed off. But I will eventually
watch it, Mike.
And I what do you think of the most recent season that just came out? Because I heard mixed things, like people were maybe a little disappointed by this third season.
It did its job.
Yeah,
I think for most of it, and then I think people were more commentary of the last episode of the season, which is a cliffhanger. It's ... to be continued.
To be continued.
Yeah. So there have been rumors that they shot both this season as well as the next season together. There's no indication of that had actually been a thing in this season, but I think people wanted the landing of the plane to be better. Again, it's just it's the arc that I think will continue into the next season.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right. Aaron Sorkin, High Republic would be Tolkien like.
Yeah,
I'd read that, says Patrick, and then Bloom
Patrick
is all caught up with the Bear.
They use a lot of knives on the Bear, Bloom. So if you want to use your lightsaber fights,
knives
in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Can you use would there be a Star Wars series that had like mini lightsabers that were knives and then you'd
you could do the Bear in Star Wars, but have it be about Dex's Diner. in Attack of the
Or the
Clones.
or the
Dexter
cantina
Jettster.
if they sell food.
Right.
Yeah.
They probably have food there. That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Who's the Bossk. Big thank you to my guest, Jordie Poblete. Jordie, where can people find you? Do you want to send people somewhere on the internet to find you?
Well, first of all, I think we also need to be thanking Werner Herzog.
And Werner, yes, for coming by.
Also, and the good folks at Laughing Place. Thank you guys for having me, and Mike, you too. You can find me on all the socials, personally at Jordie Poblete, JORDIE POBLETE.
Yeah.
And then you can also follow all the shenanigans at Disney Examiner or go to DisneyExaminer.com. It's fun to bit. I mean, Laughing Place and Disney Examiner and so many others. We've been doing this work for so long because we love it. And it's so cool to be able to do what we do alongside you. And
Agreed.
Yeah.
Always happy to see you at the events. I want to plug my other podcast, Pop Culture Explorers Club, where we talk about non-Star Wars related stuff.
Oh, have me on that one, man.
Yeah, okay. Pick a topic. We'll have you on.
The bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. This week's episode is actually all about Star Trek.
Oh.
So that's the kind of stuff. Anything that's not Star Wars related to
May the Force be with you.
We talk about over there. So check that out. Pop Culture Explorers Club, wherever you get your podcasts. Next week on Who's the Bossk, we will be talking about episode 8, the finale of The Acolyte. So come right back here. Either watch it live on the Laughing Place YouTube channel or listen to the audio version later on. My name is Mike Celestino. I'm on Instagram at Who's the Bossk Pod. And as always, please visit laughingplace.com for all your Disney news and opinions. And Disney Examiner is great too. Thank you again to Jordie. Thanks out there for listening and or watching. See you next time. Bye.
See ya.